MDH staff use a wide variety of equipment and software while creating electronic records that include text, images, audio, video, GIS files, email, databases, websites, and social media accounts. Digital preservation and conservation best practices recommend specific file formats, typically the open non-proprietary and widely available kind for long-term use. The file formats you use have a direct impact on your ability to open those files later and on the ability of other people to access those files. Welcome to this presentation on selecting the right file format for electronic records. It is being brought to you by the MDH Records and Information Management Office. This presentation outlines the formats preferred by MDH for long-term preservation. File formats and file extensions are often spoken about interchangeably. However, there is a difference worth noting. A file format speaks to the way in which the data in the file is organized. It is a standard that is used to encode information in a file for storing data. It is essential for interpreting the information that is stored. A file extension is important because it's a code that tells your computer which application to use to open the file. It's usually a 3 or 4 letter abbreviation that is affixed to the end of the file name. In addition to prompting your computer to access the correct application, a file extension also lets users know the format of a particular file. You will need to choose the best format for your particular task from the common non-proprietary format options. It goes without saying that the file format and the file extension are symbiotic, and as mentioned previously, the terms are often used interchangeably. For the purposes of this presentation, we will use the term format. Please note that if you work in databases or specialized applications, you may need to save documents in formats suitable to those systems. There are hundreds of file formats. Many of these formats are unique to specific applications, but don't worry. There are some that are common and non-proprietary that work with most applications, most notably Microsoft applications. You are likely very familiar with them and use them daily. MDH has configured your computer with default settings that makes it possible for you to open, edit, and save documents without worrying about what format it may be in. However, you may want to make a different decision based on the intended purpose of your document. Keep in mind that whatever format choice you make, it is strongly recommended that you choose a non-proprietary format that will work with most computers. The next 5 slides will briefly discuss the common format types. For images, there are many options. However, 5 are commonly used. Each has pros and cons to them. JPEGs. This is the most common image file format. This format compresses the image but maintains qualities and graphics clearly. Saving the image over and over will result in quality loss. GIF. This file format is used for static images or short animated clips. GIFs can be compressed into small files without a loss in quality, which makes uploading time fast. However, a downside is that the images may be blurry if they have a lot of color. PNG. This format type maintains its size and quality throughout multiple saves and changes. However, it has a lower resolution, so it's not suitable for printed images. TIFF. A TIFF is a high-quality image file format. It's suitable for scanned documents and printed materials. A downside of a TIFF is that the file will be uncompressed and subsequently take up a lot of computer storage space and take a long time to upload. SVG. This file format is used in most website designs. It is best suited for logos, icons, and other simple graphics that won't cause a loss in the image when resized. It is not possible to view a portion of the image. It has to be the entire image. There are also many document formats. Most have a unique purpose and are proprietary. However, there are 5 common formats that work with most applications, and users can easily identify what kind of document they are accessing. Just like images, these formats also have pros and cons. PDF. This file format is used when you need to save a document that cannot be modified, but it still needs to be easily shared and printed. One drawback is that this format can be difficult to view on a mobile device due to the image size. Docs, also referred to as Word. This is a standard file type for documents in word processing software. It has a vast amount of editing and construction options. However, with so many options, it can also be overwhelming. Excel. This is a common spreadsheet file format that is typically used to store information in columns and rows for mathematical processing. Text. This is a simple file format that contains text in the form of lines. Text files can contain a large amount of data and can be opened in any word processing application. HTML. This is a file format used to code documents for displaying on a web page. While it's relatively easy to learn, it does require knowledge of writing code. Video formats are containers for storing visual or audio data. They can be very large. The best thing you can do is choose the format best suited for your document. MP4 is the most universally compatible format. This file format saves visual and audio information accurately, but it has a lower resolution than other video format types. MOV. This file format is suitable for editing in a professional capacity because it creates high-quality videos. The file sizes are large. It was designed for Apple products, but it is compatible and it can be converted to other formats. AVI. This file format maintains quality through multiple saves and changes. It is a large file type that can take up a lot of space on your computer, and it works with most web browsers. HTML5 or WebM. This file format works well on streaming services and websites. File sizes are small. It is a relatively new format with compatibility changes with some browsers. And Flash. This file format is used for video streaming. It is supported by all video platforms and browsers, and the file sizes are small. It is not compatible with some devices such as iPhones. There are several common presentation formats that are supported by MDH. PowerPoint. This format types helps you create and share visual presentations. It is the most used format that is compatible with most applications. Whiteboard. This is a Teams tool. It allows users to draw on a virtual whiteboard and then save it as an MP4 or an MPEG video. When recording audio, it's important to consider the sound quality of the recording and the use of the recording. Some formats are better for music, while others are better for the web. The three formats listed on this slide are the commonly used formats at MDH. MP3. This format compresses audio files into smaller sizes, making them easier to share with others. It keeps a high level of sound quality, but it degrades over time. It is the most common format. M4A. This is a compressed format that makes the file size smaller and easier to share and upload. It also maintains relatively high quality after multiple edits. WAV. This format is typically not compressed, which means they may maintain sound quality. They tend to be large files that take up a lot of computer space. A zip file is a common format that is used to compress one or more files together in a single location. This reduces file size and makes it easier to transport or store. A recipient can unzip the file and use the files in the original format. There are advantages and disadvantages with creating a zip file. The advantages of a zip file is that they save storage space and increase the efficiency of your computer. It's also an effective way to send files with email. In short, it's a simple way to maximize the efficiency of your file handling. It's also a somewhat easy process to make a zip file, and it is simple to unzip files. All it takes is a download and a click regardless of your computer's operating system. One of the many disadvantages associated with a zip file is compression limits. Some files cannot be compressed much more than they already are. This is especially true for MP3 files and JPEG files. You also need to think about the security aspect of zip files. Completed zip files are encrypted. but you don't know what happens to your file if you upload a third-party app. It's also worth remembering that zip file extensions can also get corrupted. In some cases, corrupted data can affect the entire zip file folder. Zip files are also difficult to use if you're on the go. If you're using a phone or a tablet, you would need to use a file saved on your phone and a third-party app. This would create problems both with file storage space as well as security. If you have ever tried to change a format by renaming the document, then you know that a simple name change does not work to change the format. We are fortunate that MDH computers have the common software tools on them, so converting files from one format to another is not difficult. It usually takes only a few steps to open a document, click on Save As, and select a different format type. However, in rare cases, you may have to use a conversion program because you do not have the original program on your computer. If that situation arises, contact the Minute Service Desk for assistance. The terms preservation and conservation, as used in this presentation, are the simple definitions used by Wesley L. Baumgarten, Associate Professor Emeritus at Ohio State University Libraries. Preservation is the action taken to anticipate, prevent, stop, or retard deterioration. Conservation is the maintenance of each item in the collection in a usable condition. Records have a life cycle. Information has a life cycle. Preserving and conserving these through their life cycle is important. Remember to use the right tool, or in this case format, for the documents that you are creating and using. For more information on this subject, plus much more, go to the RIM SharePoint site. The address is in the link on this slide, or contact the RIM office.